time that we vote in UNC.
Salute! No. Give the finger in the air. South for the UNC. East for the UNC. West for the UNC. Give the finger in the air. South for the UNC. East for the UNC. West for the UNC.
Agriculture people can make a living under the rolling PNM, and we only suffering. The thief out the treasury and pull their pocket. Crowley and the friends, them they run well racket. Yes, they run well racket. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. My people have no fear, anti-Kamla is here. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. Now is the time that we vote in UNC.
No. Give the finger in the air. South for the UNC. East for the UNC. West for the UNC. Give the finger.
Yes, indeed. Of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, or Friends and Tobago. And wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. Yes, and this is, the corridor transformation, of course, the election 2025 edition. To be held, of course, on the 28th of this month. We just have about 2 weeks. I want to also say, of course, it's good news that, of course, proof was given of having written to the Commonwealth Secretariat and that of the Carter Foundation, at least. And, of course, I want to say kudos to the opposition leader, because at least if Ms. Arima has gotten one thing right, which, of course, is common to what we have been saying on the corridor transformation and, of course, on the ground report, that the only authoritative figure to invite, of course, entities to witness or to monitor or to supervise or to observe elections is that of the incumbent or the current administration, the government, in other words. True, usually, of course, the Prime Minister penning such a letter, because after all, that person will be the head of the government. We were told before, of course, that before he demitted office, that is, talking about the predecessor to Keith Christopher Rowley, that, of course, the CARICOM was invited. But we had, of course, immediately our skepticism when we learned that the Assistant Secretary General of CARICOM is the wife of Laimon. And of course, no one would forget, or put another way, immediately suspicion would have arose in the public space whether only of them want to say it is conspiracy theory and other nonsense. And the fact of the matter is that 2015 exists. 2020 also exists. More than that, the Privy Council decision that says that Dr. Rowley and his government undermined, subverted, tried to usurp, take over the responsibility of the electorate to choose a councillor in the respective, I think it's 14 municipalities and regional corporations, boroughs. The Privy Council said that that was wrong. And anybody with a modicum of common sense, an infinitesimal amount of awareness will know that that offends the concept of democracy, yet still. And that is what is crucial to the skepticism that the population has about this government, never wanting, of course, or should I say the PNM, never wanting to play fair, to level the playing field, always wanting to get an unfair advantage. So the very poignant argument of the willingness of the Rowley and now this Chinaman, short young PNM administration, lame duck as it is, irrelevant as it is, looking for, of course, a space now, and of course, like a headless duck, or should I say chicken, or fowl, or bird, looking all over the place for sympathy and to sanitize themselves. No way. Let's go to the lines. Early, we have a caller. Sorry, just let me see if I have it. I have it. Okay, yeah, let me see. I have it here. What's happening over there? What's happening here? Are you hearing me? But again, you're very sore, boy. Let me see. Close up. Close up. Right, good. Right. Let's go now. Yes. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Right. They go Martin inside Professor Lennox.
Yes.
All the lovely listeners. They open Berlin,
Yes, man. Well, it's there for the taking. Yes.
All right. Let me start with Ms. Balmati first.
Yes.
Because she Jack. You understand? I don't want to compromise and damage your program. She borrowing then. She borrowing the scene, man. She can't be so vulgar on it, saying, look to your right, look to your left, and you go see a set of borrows. But she using the borrow road. I using that. She using the J word that a leader has been using.
Yes.
But I want to tell her the AKA for the AG when PNM is office is bureau in government. And the bureau, I want to be explicit, capital A-S-S. You understand? In government. That is the PNM AGs in office. Because you remember, all of them have question to answer.
Oh, yes. Including the current AG.
Right. All right. The second thing is about, let us talk about the success of the SOE. I see Benjamin gloating, boy. But I want to ask him a question, and I want to go back in 2016, right? At the British ambassador resident. The man from the US, who is the director at PCA, went to a function there and said the TTPS is the biggest gang. And what happened in the SOE? They arrested the gang leader, the biggest gang leader, the COP Ola. So if that is a benchmark for measuring the success of the SOE, then Benjamin could put up his hand and say he catch a big fish. You understand where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. The irony, the irony, built-in, in fact, irony, where, of course, the one that was supposed to execute is now, of course, a convict in the making. Let me put it that way.
And they just validate.
And in fact, really a convict because she was in fact arrested. And
she was arrested. They're in charge.
Yeah. And then, of course,
you understand? So
and you have not, of course, gotten any significant what they will call, of course, big fish of any substance, except, of course, that which we mentioned earlier. But go ahead.
Right, and if the TTPS was advising the Prime Minister call the SOE, trying to basically mitigate the friction and the rivalry between gangs, then they validated the PCA director's stance on the TPPS. I mean to say, I started laughing when I heard that.
Yes.
And then this AG, Balmatic, the way she going on, they under pressure, you know.
But
Serious pressure.
absolutely, they have gone politically and what I consider mentally insane. I mean, and they can be classified. I am no expert, but from what I'm seeing, the kind of hogwash that is coming from their mouth and the kind of desperation, but they could do nothing about it. You see, they do the damn. They use the race card, the damn. They don't use the race card, the damn. They use, of course, performance, the damn. They use non-performance, the damn. Because everybody knows who they are. They have been, of course, exposed and have exposed themselves for the last 10 years. Everybody knows. Tobago made the first choice, and Trinidad is now, of course, to, I should say, pronounce on their absolute political demise by getting 39 seats in favor of the UNC and the coalition of interest. Full stop. But go ahead.
Right, my last point, and I don't know if people can call it that I am connected. Saddam bust the mark about this company getting a set of contracts, several companies, one owner is the fellow who they sell a set of foreign use parts in bamboo, right?
Yeah, and of course the purpose of the company has nothing to do with, of course,
Right.
civil
But listen
engineering.
to this.
Yes.
Never underestimate the lying taxing government. Where does that person initially grew his business, lived, and basically helped establish and grow that business? That is 1, 2, and 3. Bamboo 1, 2, and 3. Does he still have influence with the resident in that area? Because the St. Joseph seat, Terence, the dead man,
Yes.
is under serious pressure.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but this is the way I'm seeing it. Are they hoping that he could influence those swing votes? Because the area that caused him to reach to the line first was Bangladesh, right? Everybody know where Bangladesh because he get them plenty CPAP contract there, but they turn against him. And when you remember, you know his Bamboo Mouth. When Bamboo Mouth, who had get all the Unicode thing and he had to take them, he fall out with them now.
Yeah.
Those are the two people who had influence down there to shift some of those.
Like Ishmael. Go ahead.
You call him. Your calling name is your program.
Yes.
But you understand, so I'm throwing out my thought for all the UNC activists in that area. Understand, they're spending $200 million to get that man to influence Olia to vote for the debt minister, the minister of debt. So, let us be on the guard for that area because I am telling you, the most CPET gangs in Trinidad and Tobago works in the St. Joseph area. You will see them cleaning the Uriah Butler Highway, Grand Bazaar area, morning, noon, and night continuously, and the Curap area from Carney Bridge to Valsin Teachers College every day. When they reach one corner, they go back down. So that is where he have them in bondage to vote for him. Go on. Anything I think about, call you back.
Thank you very much. But the difficulty is that there is a video that has gone viral where a fella who appeared to be a CPAP worker is taking a picture of his boss, the contractor, and indicating that look him. He going in the car and all of them behind him, they had to go in the bus. Otherwise, they get paid. Where think they're going to a PNM meeting? And so, even that and all is collapsing. These people really are being caught with wet toilet paper that's chipping them up. And that is almost impossibility. But here it is in Trinidad and Tobago where the PNM is being chopped up with wet toilet paper. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, good night, Mr. Lennox Smith.
Good night to you.
I now get a call here. Somebody tell me you're calling my name.
Yes, yes, I did make reference to you in terms of the observers.
I wasn't listening
Oh,
before,
foreign
it's when
observers.
I
No,
get
I
the
was
call,
saying,
I
I was
find out.
making the point that you have been advocating for foreign observers, and while you were attempting to put pressure on the opposition, the only people who could, of course, have done that is the sitting government via the prime minister, and it appears that he has demonstrated proof that he did in fact right, and he got back response from the not the Carter Foundation as yet, but the Commonwealth Secretariat and that of the CARICOM Secretariat, and they will be in the country by the 21st.
Now, let me tell you something. Let me show you something concerning this whole thing. Why I could talk like that and explain about the OAS and the Carter Foundation is because I get my experience from learning what the opposition do in Venezuela. It is just so I talking, and I know a lot about the Inter-American Charter. No government is going to put themselves before a court. The OAS is a court. They just don't have a judge. The head there is that when you're talking and having discussion, they call them the chair at the house, the whole meeting. It has a chair. And the chair right now, the secretary right now is a man from Suriname. They changed the secretariat there. Right? Now let me tell you something. Whenever a country, a government break democracy in this region, where CARICOM heads together with the Latin American countries and North America, which is Canada and the United States, when countries break the democracy, the opposition is who have to put them before this court they call the Organization of Americans. Any trouble given here is the opposition to put them there. Nobody can tell me about no prime minister to bring observers here. If she had written and complained like how he had lied on her and put and write letter for observers, and she listened because she listened, right? He listened, but she had so much things that she could write to the OS, which is even more powerful than the Privy Council. They would have put a spoke in his wheel. All now they would have been out government. They would have terrorized him. Right? Them afraid them asking for no observer there. Them afraid they will be in serious trouble if they go there.
All right, well, of course,
right?
I barely mentioned it.
I have finished talk.
Good.
When people know something, don't try to bring me down. All who would bring me down is because they don't know. And they love the UNC, they're sick, so they're blocking. And you see how we end up? If he saying he ain't want no observer here, he wrong. That is not democracy. You can't talk to your opposition and your people and say what you want. We have rights there, and they would have protect us from this shit. What he did doing to us. You hear? They're not tolerating that. And it's they who give the government of Venezuela pressure to till they can't take it. And they decide to walk out on the OS, so there's not a member. But still, they just have meetings and have votings concerning the human rights issues in Venezuela up to this day, and the unfairness in the election that took place. And with them pressuring, and remember, United States is the head. So I come into this dragon gas where he blaming the opposition, saying, want to say it's them, because I listened to him, this Rowley will come out the other night, and he's saying it's because of them he telling the fools and them is because of the opposition why this deal go through, because she had written all before when Delcy come in here. So he want to show Delcy come in for business then, and they wrote for the country to get sanctioned. Right? Why they asked, they didn't say she come in here to sign document for gas when she did come. Why they had to lie and say it's COVID and he's stomaching, and the next one lying with a straight face, the young Chinese man, and he's so bold faced when people call him a liar. That is with you and Andy. He want to put them before the court, sending pre-action protocol letter. Look how much bacchanal. But the backside get away from the United States for that. For that. And after years passed, just last year, the young Chinese man stand up in the parliament and talking and saying it's gas. She come in here to sign documents for. Well, I want him to know that some months before she did come in here, she went to Spain with about 20 suitcases full of gold. They know it's gold. And the transport minister is who allowed her to come in, and she wasn't to go in that country either. And she left from the airport with about 20 suitcases in a van and went straight to the embassy. And from then they just called her the mule. So they were giving talk about is gas she come to sign for when she came the last time. But she ain't bound to come for that, you know. She's a mule. Them playing with a sanction. She is the one with us carries all kind of thing. Dinero, all kind of thing on it. Liquid cash. Because as you know, Lennox, they can't do things through the bank, and them just pay for things with gold. So the fuel that leave here, right? They could pay for it. Right?
Yes.
And next thing, he's saying is them caused the whole problem by contacting the opposition with this dragon gas. They only dongs in all them deal and they could have get through. It is so at all. This is how the story go. They didn't want to have election. And Biden tell them, and the OS tell them they have to have election, and they have to have it with observers. He had to do that. He make a promise after in Barbados. He said, well, if all you want that, okay, all you have to release Alex Saab and take off the sanction on my wife and release my nephews.
People have
it
got
had
to
all
see
kind of prisoner release.
She's referring not to Churchill or Rowley, but to Maduro. Is a Venezuelan focus at this point. But go ahead.
No, well, I'm telling people how we ain't getting this gas.
Yeah, I want to make sure that they follow.
I'm telling people how we ain't getting this gas. And when they promised to have free and fair election with observers, because the OS demand that they have to do it, the opposition had asked for that through the OS, and Delcy Rodriguez's brother is who went Barbados and represent the country with other people to meet Brian Nichols, who was the envoy for the region here in Biden. And he promised, go back and check, and he break the promise. And they had told him if he break that promise, they're going to sanction him back with the gas. He come and he thief the election. And when he thief the election, they keep telling him, you have to step down. You can remember that? He say he not stepping down, and they give him time. Well, his time expire, and this is why they take out, they put the sanction. Let all Rowley and Churchill hold their backside according to you. This is why we end up so, because the young man don't want to step down. And that is his punishment. And why he cannot get any monies when he sell gas is because he used to be thieving the money and then buying medication. He not looking after the citizens in the country. Is everybody thieving inside of there. And this is why they had to freeze up everything. He's not to have no money. He's a thief. And this is how he ended up like that. And then now, on top of that, he was doing the drugs thing. And that is why they have bounty on his head. He in plenty trouble. Right? So let around the fool all you're supposed to do all your homework. I know my homework. Right? This is why he never stepped down after he boldfacedly come out and say he win the election. Hey, what are we talking about? And we have to feel it. That man ain't care too much about Trinidad. That young man care about himself. All we money going in this thing. And every year we have to give them $1 million US. And them good with that. Who you think getting it? He and his partners and them in the government. That ain't going towards nothing for the people. All the money he was getting before. He said thief it out down to the goal in England. He tried all how to get it in COVID to say he wanted to get vaccine and things for his citizens. And the people punishing. He couldn't get vaccine nowhere but from Russia and China. It's them had to help him. And on top of that, the people just had to suffer because of he and his wickedness. Up to now, we can't get the goal. Up to now, we can't get the goal. These people going to starve again and start to look to migrate like that. They're going to start to eat in dustbin again. And where they coming? Where they going to be coming, Lennox?
Right
they
here.
Can't get in Mexico no more. They
Right
can't
here.
even go Guatemala. People don't want them in the place. People don't like them in the place. Yes, how Trump sending them out. They haven't got behavior. And when I was trying to tell people about these people, I get blows. No, look how they're paying for it. Look at the kind of blows they're giving we inside of here. He lied, the Chinese man come and lie and say, Rubio, say he ain't gonna harm Trinidad and make people feel things nice. The man tell him to see about the security of the country. You see, now he's trying to say he bringing this squad and that squad. That's what he had to do. See about the country. See about guarding the borders. Youngest lie. Because all the studying is dragon gas. And that's what they want to try and win the election with. But everything crashed. And once that gang man day, even if Kamala win, he's not going to give her anything. He's a terrible man like that. He will tell her no, he don't like her. And she know that. So we will be tied up still. And the US will dictate the place whoever gets in power in this country. This country don't have no sovereignty no more. That is it. America dictating the pace right through. I go and I talk long enough.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I thought it was a lot of what I consider to be sensible, analytical, and of course extremely historical in terms of the chronology of events in Trinidad and Tobago. I'll make a point because that has a culmination and it has impact on what we are experiencing now. But of course, we will wait for the next caller to complete his presentation. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend.
I hear you saying Miss Arima get it right at least. Could you tell me what she got right?
But she got right the assessment of the bad information, or put another way, the poor interpretation of a welcome in Jamaica of Stuart Young, when of course he said that Marco Rubio said that the Americans will do nothing to harm Trinidad and Tobago. Nothing to harm Trinidad and Tobago. But of course, we know afterwards, a week or two afterwards, well, they pull the license, the OFAC license. Very important for Trinidad and Tobago, with some more time to go for expiration. And they therefore terminate the Dragon gas deal. And that, to me, if you say you don't want to harm, well, I wouldn't want to see what you mean by not harming. if you don't want to harm, I don't want to see what you have done there is total and absolute harm to Trinidad and Tobago, according to Rowley and they. But we have, of course, other aspects of it that we have to look at. Go ahead.
Yes, well, I will tell you something. I don't know if you could remember, more than one time I used to be complaining to you and Andy that it have a lot of callers used to be bashing Miss Arima, bashing Miss Bomati. They call them all kind of nasty, stinking name.
All right.
And they didn't have the information that Miss Arima have. And to the end of the deal, Miss Arima was almost right all the time. But just because these, and I'll tell you, it's all your number one callers and them who had a tag team. They had a tag team, about 6, 7 people. They call, I don't want to call the name on air, but they belittle these people and them, including me. I get in my share too, because the number one caller used to call and say, I lying, I making bacchanal, I causing corruption.
Remember, we have an election to win it, so let us not focus on water under the bridge now. Let's see how we can, of course, add value to the election victory.
No Lennox.
Go ahead.
All this cause water to go below the bridge. Because when people bring in good information, they want to be number one and bashing people and running people from the program and them. You understand?
I hear you.
And
I would prefer less focus on that and more focus on the 28th, when of course we expect 39 seats.
Now I comment to that.
Go ahead, my friend. Yes.
When I used to be talking about those nasty Indian UNC, you see it coming out now? All of them, every one of them who get rejected, they was in the party for years. And they say so much a wrong thing went on for years. They sit down and the wrong thing was going on. They didn't say nothing. No, as they didn't have a way, they come out. And even Mr. Victor Roberts, I tell him about it too.
Is he an exception to that rule? Because, I mean, he is a neophyte. He's a Johnny-come-lately.
Yes, and he named the call-up in corruption. They say that he was thieving the corporation money. And today, he complained about that. This evening on his chat,
well, of course, he has found his resting place, so to speak, alongside that corrupt bunch of opportunistic political parasites called members or the upper echelons of the PNM. It gives credence to what you are saying, because the two, of course, I had to say, pretend that you are not corrupt. And then, of course, at the end of the day, when it is crucial, you then gravitate or align yourself with corruption that we have never seen before. Well, of course, it tells a vivid story as to who you really are. Tell me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. But go ahead.
He going back home.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and indeed. He was talking about Anita Haynes. Anita Haynes straight like a needle. And I put on his chart, when you don't know somebody, don't say nothing. Go in Anita Haynes' constituency and you would hear and you would see, right? Look, this next one, I'll tell you what happened to a woman who gets flooded out. The woman gets flooded out. She loses everything. People, everyday people used to cook and bring for she. And this, what you name by the chairman, The fellow
Like
who
what?
Brian Rampasa take over from.
Rampasad?
Rampasa take over from the Kuva Tabakit Alparo, the
yeah.
chairman before.
Rampasad.
No, the one before.
Oh, the one before? The Rastaman?
Yes, the Rastaman.
Okay, go
you
ahead.
You know what the Rastaman do? The Rastaman did know this girl aunt living in America.
Ah.
The lady was sending some stuff in barrel. This nasty, stinking, dirty Henry Awong.
Awong,
call
yes,
the lady
yes,
and tell the lady, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Share everything. And the woman starving. I call Henry Awong. Oh, you could remember the day that I carry you over a bridge and we had to walk on a board?
You did a very treacherous piece of bridge that was required. Well, they had to cross, and at any time it could collapse into the river below, and they would have to use the river now to but go down the bank, then cross the river at the lowest end, and then go up the bank, which of course would have been a challenge for any very physically fit person, far less for those persons who you advocated for. I think he had a stroke or something like that.
No, he had an amputee just like myself.
Oh, okay. He's an amputee. All right, good. He was an amputee.
Yes, right. But he passed away. No, he passed away.
Passed away? Okay.
And I call Henry Awong. I said, Mr. Awong, you don't know me. I used to be driving the campaign truck for you all in 2010. We have a constituent here by me, need some help. It's all right. Next week I come in. I come in with the councillor. Next week, Pastor didn't see him. When I call him the following week, he said, I must have forget. And you know, he was people in his constituent, Kuva, Tabakit, Alparo, seeing trouble. He went Greenvale. I didn't mind he go Greenvale, but fix your people too. And this is the kind of people Miss Kamla Pasad Bisesa have around she. They're ready to cut she throat anytime. So you know, I hope
are
that
you
Miss Kamla Pasad Bisesa.
Are you satisfied with what essentially is the purging that she initiated? And maybe I might ask a better question, a more appropriate question, whether she should have gone further.
I feel so, but
all right.
Right now, we late. We can't go further. We had to try and win the election.
Okay.
Although I am sour or what happening in the area by me, I is a UNC. Because when I was talking about this MP we had before, he ain't doing nothing. All your number one caller call me and bash me, tell me I'm lying, I'm making confusion. And she went so far to tell me your house burned down and you had to beg. They had to beg for help. That is what you know.
My friend. Well, I know you were trying to be. I know you were trying to be as symbolic as possible, but I think part of your clandestine attempt seemed to have been given away, because you said you use agenda. She. But that's all right. That's all right.
All right. Well, I will tell you which is now Miss Santa Cruz.
Oh,
Miss Santa Cruz who bashed me.
Okay, so
and she called Andy. And she called Andy and tell Andy what she do to me.
All right.
Andy tell me, say, Mr. Freeport, you know when you tell me you're lying.
All right, thanks.
And I hear you accommodate she bashing Miss.
All right, but we still have an election to win. Don't forget that. All right? Okay then. Yes, indeed. You're going to get that. People are emotional at times, and some things, of course, rub the wrong side of persons to the point where any opportunity, any platform they would use, of course, to vent. And while, of course, that has its place, it must be limited in the present circumstance of the country, and the fact that we have about 17 days before the 28th for people to cast their vote. So I would like to focus on the inevitable victory for the UNC, but you could only talk that now. But the proof of the pudding is on the victory itself. D-Day 28, and therefore we must focus on preparation and, of course, gravitation. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Let me see what's happening here. All right. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry
Right.
about that. Yeah.
We supporters of the UNC and the coalition and interests must stop the bickering.
Yeah.
Miss Santa Cruz is a true patriot.
Yeah.
And this kind of small talk, this and that, a lot of people, we have to, supporters of the UNC, everything has to be positive now.
Yes.
One vision, one aim, to win, so we could put this country back on a growth pillar.
Yes.
Now, what I'm calling you for, I am hoping the newspaper, the national print media, go down to the NCRHA Mount Hope and see the chaos that currently happens. The whole of last week, people in the appointment in the clinic, they're all over the place. Like there is no guidance, no manager are pacing the floor to see how dysfunctional the running of the hospital takes place. We know the fellow in charge of the CEO of Eric Williams is the election manager or campaign manager. The last time for terror, it's terrible.
And as I understand, he's a what? Entertainment.
He was the man for the magical.
Expert or something like that. Entertainment expert. So what the hell he doing there? But go ahead.
Yeah, and it appears his core function is to basically improve the efficiency and the delivery of healthcare, and apparently he's not doing that. He must be sleeping or go on vacation, give it to somebody who could actually passionate for healthcare.
Yeah.
The appointment for the average person to get in a line, and I tell you the line has been so long, probably he had to come in with a jet from Tobago. And,
wow.
and they say it is improvement, eh?
Wow.
Digitization.
Yeah, well, that's the line you're talking about. What about the wait after the line?
No, but listen to me. I took somebody there, and by talking to the clerks and them, they said they want to go back to the notebook to document everything, because the system they buy is slower than a Morocco.
Wow.
So that is causing everything, the clinics, the appointment is...
So apart from backlog, you have, of course...
A backlog left,
you
right.
have years to wait for critical
and the
surgery.
other thing is, they're not catering for the senior citizens how to stand in the line, else they will lose their line, they will walk and sick.
As everybody
There's
else.
no place for them to sit down. It is so awkward.
So a place that is supposed to heal is really and truly a place that you may well suffer from things that will cause you to want to be healed. Some ailment.
And the mouthpiece of the PNM, all the print media and the television station, doesn't know that they have to do investigative reporting. I am bringing it to their attention.
Yeah.
So somebody, if they're listening to this, go and see it. I don't want to break protocol, but I cannot do a whole video of it and circulate it. But I said, no, that is the wrong way. Bring it to the attention. Hopefully people will listen to it.
I hear you. But of course, that doesn't take away the fact that the Alsing is the bearer of debt.
Yeah.
The Minister of National Security, former was the bearer of debt. And the ministry itself.
He's not fit for purpose of running that. He looks at the aesthetic
and then
of the building, have new tiles, new cupboards, have his landscaping done, because that is small contract. He could get a friends and family.
Yeah.
You understand? But the true deliverable is they don't even have reagents to do some of the blood tests. So when there's consultation, the doctors basically shooting in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Have a nice night. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So you go to the hospital to get healed. you may well, of course, find yourself getting more sick, as we have had many stories. But I want to say something at this point. You see, I am extremely elated, and experience is the best teacher, right? You know that. So nothing could beat experience. So today, well, last 2 days I had about 3 or 4 experiences that I thought I should share with you as far as the elections is concerned, and persons who you least expect to be gravitating, to be metamorphosizing. It's as if they have found a new being, a new way, a new concept, a new vision. Today, a man, a senior citizen, he has a hearing difficulty but could function pretty well. He walks about, of course, right here on George Street. And since we came in here in this building, he was vehemently critical of the UNC. Put another way, he was stridently in defense of what we know to be the indefensible, but the wicked, evil, diabolical, and of course, stupendously incompetent PNM. But you know, today, he sat down in our office, the Love office, of course, with all of the paraphernalia of not just Love, but UNC, COP, etc. And he said to my amazement, and he did it repetitively so that you can make no mistake that is he talking it and that it was said. He said, don't matter what, he going to vote UNC. You know what I say? I said, the man said today, he tell me he is Piggott brother. So Piggott, the name Piggott alone shows, of course, an inclination to the PNM, or some kind of what I consider to be little short of a dynasty, or a kind of heritage. The man say he going to vote for the PNM. No, I thought he would have said that. He said he's going to vote for the UNC. And why? He said in uncertain terms, he don't want anybody to interfere with his pension, and he believes that he's going to get an increase when Kamla Prasad Bisesa comes. Wow! Wow! Astonishing and amazing. But it's not only him. Another senior citizen came into the office and I paid particular attention in terms of where they come from, because I want to be able to relate to you with a high degree of accuracy. He said he come from, of course, near the gas station at the junction of St. Babs and Old St. Joseph, and Laventon Road. And guess what? He want to make sure as to where, he want help to know where he's going to vote, because he will be voting the UNC. Another senior citizen. You see, I am making that point because it's not him alone. Everywhere you go on the Beetham. In spite, of course, of the fact that the young man, Marcel, who, of course, born and grew up there, the senior citizens are not taking any chances. And it is not about, of course, giving the young man a chance to put something on his resume. They can't afford it. It is too dangerous, too sensitive, and too life either transforming or life detriment. You know what I say? I say it is either life transforming or life detriment. And they realize it. Because you see, apart from the fact that they get the pension, yes, but it is being whittled away with the higher cost of transportation, the higher cost of food, the higher cost of electricity, and the higher the higher cost of potential water rates. And the PNM has itself to blame because the people don't trust them. Don't trust them. They said that they would not, of course, reduce the subsidy that caused the gas prices to raise, and transportation and every damn thing else to, of course, escalate in terms of cost. They told us that they wouldn't, of course, engage in property tax. They tell us they're not closing down Petrotrin. And they tell us, of course, that the Trinidad and Tobago will experience utopia on the 8th of September in 2015. The elections of that year being on the 7th, the day before. And that they were doing that if they only retain Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC, they will be doing themselves a disfavor. And so give the PNM and Rowley, Imsbert, and of course Young a chance. As they promise utopia. You see, it is important that we understand that, like deja vu, and the concept of those who do the same thing over and over and expect a different result are asses or they're mad. Or indeed, those who don't learn from the history are doomed to repeat it. We have all of that inside of the reality that is the PNM today, having, of course, imploded and, of course, now have dispersed like spores, looking for anything to attach themselves to for survival. To attach themselves to for survival, people. The PNM, yes. All the boast. We know that their underbelly, as we said before, a bunch of cowards. Their underbelly has been exposed. And so they're ranting and raving all over the place, like, of course, ranting, mad lunatics. They're trying, of course, to convince themselves that they are convincing everyone else who are unconvinced of their conviction or convincing. Figure it out. Figure it out. Well, one word or one phrase, they're gone mad. They're gone mad. They are in intellectual, cognitive, and of course, cerebral decline. All of them. You heard them, of course, in the crazy. And last night, instead of course, coming on the program, I did put up for you, I see people are looking at it. Both PNM and UNC meetings occurring, of course, simultaneously at the same time. Nobody could be two places at the same time, but the technology has provided us a mechanism whereby we can see what is happening in both camps, in both meetings. And guess what? When I put on PNM, I see 200 and something views because we're looking at those who are viewing it on YouTube. And guess what? Because YouTube will put up the amount of viewers. Guess what? Guess what, people? I see 200 and something. Whilst, of course, when I look at the UNC views, people who are watching over 3,000 and then 5,000 eventually. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Sorry about that. Sorry about that call back. I just delayed you in order to finish a point. The point I am making is, and as both meetings progressed, PNM was behind in terms of views by upwards and counting of 3,000. 3,000 people ahead of the PNM, who have attracted, of course, the persons to watch their meetings. It shows the disinterest. It shows that people have reached the zenith of their tolerance of this group of vipers. On the other hand, the PNM has failed to attract as the UNC has, and therefore people are gravitating to the physical meetings. I'm talking about there is no need for a person to be at the meetings and of course view the meeting. Obviously they are there physically. They are seeing, of course, the live offerings of the UNC and its platform. So you cannot say that that is people who are on, that were on the live and viewing were in the meeting. No, that's separated apart. And when you compare the physical as well, chalk and cheese. The chalk, of course, is the PNM, and its paltry, of course, attraction of physical audience, as opposed to the UNC, that is massive. And why am I making the point? You see, I'm making the point because the UNC is not in government. And let's face it, if you are in government, you will be tempted because you have access to the state apparatus and the finances. If you need to give people contracts and so on in order for them to influence others so that they could fill up the auditorium or the venue that you would have carried your meeting for or to be held. And guess what? In that regard, as we saw, of course, when they launched their candidates in Woodford Square, as I told you, I witnessed people leaving Woodford Square before Rowley and or Stuart Young arrived. And I wondered why. I said they probably were looking for something to drink. But of course I know that those, what I consider to be hawkers and improvised entrepreneurs, I like to call them entrepreneurs, but of course persons, of course, who are selling the corn soup, etc., and seeing $1, whether it be the snow cone man or the nuts man, as the case may be. All of them are there. Why are these people leaving? And in a sufficient number to be noticeable. And then the information came that they had to go to the square to sign their attendance book. Otherwise, they wouldn't get paid as a CPEP worker. As a CPEP worker. I don't know if the same apply to URP, but the URP I can see can be a little more flexible and have a different method of course, what I consider to be cajoling and forcing people to come to those dead or wake meetings. Yeah, it's awake. They are dead. The leadership of the PNM, dead. Yes, people. So, the advantage is to the PNM, but yet still, they cannot attract any numbers on social media objectively, or indeed at their meetings where they have a subjective advantage. In other words, they can force people to come there. But they can't even do that in numbers larger than that of the UNC. What does that tell you? Get out there and make your vote count. 1 and 2. Make the victory so huge that any attempt to steal would be impossible by the PNM because they have the track record of trying to steal elections or having stolen elections. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hey, Lennox, pleasant good night to you and everybody on the live. Well, Lennox, I didn't believe you was on, you know. I said, let me call and find out what was going on because I was going through the YouTube, then I wasn't seeing, well, Facebook, and I wasn't seeing it live on Facebook.
Okay.
So only when I call and I hear you talking, I say, hey, but Lennox on.
Yeah, I
But
seen
Lennox,
136 views.
from
I seen right now. I seen 6 on Facebook. Alfred John, you log on to Alfred John. I seen something there to suggest that somewhere in the
I'm watching on YouTube right now.
in the virtual world somewhere, but I myself have not been able to find it on Facebook. But I'm seeing something popping up on the screen to suggest that. But go ahead.
Right, Lennox. So I want to find out one thing. Is the international observers get any response from this government that they come into Trinidad?
Yeah, that has been confirmed today. And of course, as we said, we want proof. And the Prime Minister's office did submit the letter that they sent from Trinidad, and the letter that was sent back accepted. They have not gotten anything from the Carter Foundation, but on the 21st of this month, both CARICOM and the Commonwealth will be here. Of course, I am very, very elated that the Commonwealth will be here because they are as equal and as vigilant as that of the Carter. But if the Carter comes, they may discover things that the Commonwealth may not, or indeed, if the CARICOM observers are objective, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt. But when Rowley said it's only them inviting, you know that the intention is to steal, right? And of course, there's a reason why the others have been invited, because of American pressure. Nothing different to what they did to Maduro. That is what has happened here. But we will discuss that little later.
Lennox,
go ahead. Yeah.
Lennox,
yeah.
You remember some time ago, I say if Rowley and them had to get that dragon deal, it has certain things that they got to abide by in terms of the election, and I say that they got to force them somehow to either bring international observers.
Yes, you did. You did. It's slightly different from what Miss Arima said, but nonetheless, I think you have to give her credit for harping on the point. But go ahead.
Right, and one more thing. You hear Foster Cummins was confessing about something concerning the last election that gone, the 2020 election. You didn't hear it?
No.
Well, he was saying for the election that there was only pushing out UNC votes, and there was jolly and everything was good. And when they started release the PNM votes now from the PNM constituencies, what I go do? I go get it and I go call it back and I go play it and you go hear what you are saying.
They have a tendency to eventually speak the truth, or some conscience bug might have bitten them, and we have seen that very often with Rowley when he confessed, of course, that he was the man that intervened with the debacle as far as the shortlist is concerned for a commissioner of police in this country that was supposed to pass on to the parliament, having reached the president at the time, Paula May Weeks. We have seen that happening. We have seen him, of course, confess that, of course, the PNM has lost the battle with crime, but yet still, of course, after that, he initiated about 5 different things in order to try to curb crime, including, of course, our SOE, which will finish incidentally tomorrow. The SOE will come to an end tomorrow, people. And, of course, he also talked about crime as a public health issue. And, of course, as we like to jocularly and what I consider to be dismissively caricature, meaning that make a joke of it by saying that if a fella point a gun at you and he pull the trigger, just go in a drugstore and look for some kind of tablet and everything will be fine. Yeah, right. Go ahead, my friend.
But Lennox, I feel what going on with Foster Cummins, this thing is more deeper than most people think.
All right.
Some time ago, he was in a Baptist church singing.
Yeah.
Right? I take a look at that. You're singing in a Baptist church. Recently, he was on a platform talking about the UNC and this and that. And then he mentioned something and he's saying, oh, his spirit getting aggravated. And now, I hear he confessing. So whatever it is Pastor Cummins doing in his spirit realm, it backfiring on him, and he's realizing that because he's confessing right now.
Well, I suppose that comes after Rowley, because Rowley, whatever he planted or initiated at Likoto, it has backfired on him. So he has exited. He exited himself and put, of course, a total buffoon that now has collapsed the country, collapsed the economy. The country is like a headless duck or chicken, and therefore he is at the helm of what is called a lame duck administration, which could get nowhere. Of course, Skabla Prasad Bisesa and the UNC must now come in and fill the vacuum and of course, take Trinidad and Tobago back to some kind of sanity.
I don't know. Look down and listen.
Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. So, yeah. So I was making a point here, people, before, of course, the calls, that we have a revolution, and I always wondered, for a second time in my life, to see a groundswell. You see, a groundswell refers to people who may not be connected to any party, or may be connected to a party that is at the receiving end of abandonment. For, of course, a party that is on the ascendancy, in this case, of course, in the latter case is the PNM that has been abandoned, and of course the UNC is being, of course, on the ascendancy, and of course benefiting from the groundswell that is taking place all over the country. Thus, of course, 39 seats. I know that those who were stridently saying about 2 or 3 months ago, no, that is impossible. Lennox been talking nonsense and that is impossible, etc., because, of course, the PNM is very solid in 12 seats. In 12 seats. Solid in 12 seats, but not even them 12. They sure to get, because they were saying the same damn thing in Tobago. All the experts are now silent, definitely so. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah, Mr. Smith, good night. Press Galania.
Hey, man. Yes, man.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Smith, you see, we are at the end of a long, long road.
Yes, man.
You know what I mean? When it is all of this began, I was a teenager. You know,
yes,
so
yes.
We hope this election, you know what I mean, some kind of positive come out of it. Everybody ready to vote. Just today, the UNC and the candidates and whoever passed down by we and whoever.
Right.
So you know where this go.
Right.
Yeah, you know where this go. Everybody's seen. Everybody know where is the code.
That's right.
So
yellow is the code,
yeah,
man. Say it loud and proud. Let the others know.
No, well, you know. Yeah, well, everybody don't know the time, you know, Mr. Smith, you know, we you know.
Yeah, all right, man. Yeah. I like to rub it in, you know. I like to kill an ant with a sledgehammer. It must double, triple.
It deserving because I remember years ago when I used to listen to it when the corridor now come out and thing.
Yes.
And you used to always say, one day people go see the PNM and get sensitized to who there is and like what all about now, and we going to see that now, you know what I mean?
Yes, man.
Yes, man.
You're making me want to cry, man.
Yeah, where people know, where the same people know who used to vote for them is the ones who go in and vote them out now, right?
Yes.
You know, so that is just that is something that we always kind of long was to see now, because, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. So I looked on and listening, Mr. Smith, I don't know.
Thank you very much. And of course, I tell all and sundry every night we are here, right through, and we have some day
people
programs
don't know the
as
time,
well.
Man.
Yes,
But, man, and it was so good. It was so good when the UNC was walking. People who, you know,
yes,
youth men and whoever, they started follow them and walk and thing and whoever.
Yes.
So, you know, people just doing whatever they could do now. You know, just go Mr. Smith.
Yes, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. You too.
Yeah.
Find a camp, find help to talk. You know, do what you have to.
Yeah.
Get them to the polling station, because this is a groundswell, and a groundswell means that people are just gravitating. They don't care whether they're going a barrow, and as this buffoon in Port South would say, he ride a bike and he still have a coal pot, and he go roast a breadfruit, all kind of hogwash in modern Trinidad and Tobago, insulting us.
But Mr. Smith, you know what's interesting too? I saw that when in one of them video, I see him fella, he do so and yeah, he do so and he do so and a man, he telling a man great as the PNM or something like that, and the man telling him for life. You know, so it still had them kind of people who exist too now, but it's an old Mr. now, boy.
Yes. Well, I want to tell you tonight I encountered two and during the week, boy, and they can't wait to go and vote for the UNC. Can't wait. They're coming to find out in the UNC office where they're going and vote. That's it. They even want the chance to go by the PNM.
Yeah. You know, them old people is too, Mr. Smith, them studying the pension and thing. And,
that is exactly what they're studying.
Plenty people talking now, you know, let's go, Mr. Smith. I love to listening.
Yes, thank you very much, man. Thank you very much, young man. Thank you very much. The man say what 5 years ago he was a teenager. So this is a recent adult, and clearly would have recently got his ID as well, turned 18. And of course from his voice, you could see, you could feel and understand the youthfulness of it, and the need for a better future and a better kind of opportunity to be optimistic and to be hopeful. Yes, indeed. Because you see, the Lord moves in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. As I told some people today, listen, I've been waiting since 2007, having been convinced that the PNM is toxic, is a cesspool of corruption, nepotism, cronyism, and take the people in particular of Laventille and environs for granted, and they therefore see them as a voter bank. You know, the Crapo and Thai, and if you send that in Laventille, they go vote for them. I ain't hear them talking that kind of talk at all in this wrongs. I ain't hearing PNM people talking that at all. And those who, as the caller said, is still in denial that that's happening. I see one by the corner. I told my colleague, look one day, but I noticed he visibly and conspicuously silent. How come? This is election period. How come? And he's pensive, he jittery, of course, and his whole countenance, you know, when a man have a drunken face, well, he had such a face. But let's go to Elijah. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hey, Lennox, good night.
Good night.
Right, you hear me good?
Loud and clear, my friend.
You remember the Caleb show, the people will talk?
Yes, the people will talk. Yes, I remember that.
No matter what you do, the people will talk.
Yes.
Just a fancy looking dandy. The nuclear that the Caleb show was. At the ending up is the way that you walk, they go talk. So, there ain't nothing new up here, them talking on the express, you know.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. I understand. There was a video that went viral. Somebody was telling me just before I came on, when they're claiming that African fellas are being used. Just imagine that African fellas are being used to intimidate PNM people. Imagine that. All the elections of the past, when they use these poor, young, vulnerable, susceptible people, and of course some middle-aged and so on. I know in the days of Sa and them, when they went and sent pussies all up into the Puna and so on to run people from voting.
Yeah.
Eh?
I
And then, of course, the whole idea of eating them out and vote them out, and they say that the covering and the paving place were only paved last week. They paving it over. Once they get aside a bug of efficiency, once they get some kind of vision for efficiency, but that in itself shows that they are profligate as profligacy can be, and so wasteful and corrupt in a blasted attempt to stay in government, and that is a corrupt act and not paving over nothing to serve the people. It's about trying to get slippery money, blood money, to fight the campaign of no return. But go ahead, my friend. Yeah.
Them going through the shoot, they may have no chance in nothing nearby.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. And hear this, I want to tell you something.
Yes.
To me, I hear people say the Venezuelans will talk like Trinidadians, and it will be hard to detect them and all. That ain't true, you know. Right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. And I want you to look for that movie tonight when you're done.
Good. Let me take a note. Let me take a note. I like your movies and them.
Right.
But
a movie called,
but don't give me any that is black and white.
I don't bad boy like black and white.
Yeah, well, when the first time I put on a black and white movie, the boy turned and say, when he was 7 years or 6 years, he turned and say, Daddy, you have on a pirate movie. Pirate. Yeah. Because of course that is modern youth, so they know about color. That's about it. But go ahead.
Right. They have a movie called The Great Escape.
The Great Escape, all right.
Yeah, they just prisoners in prison camp in Germany.
All right.
Right, Steve McQueen was one of the main stars in that movie.
Yeah, I like that actor.
Right. And they learned to talk German so perfectly now.
Yeah.
That in the end, when they was escaping, and they're going on a train, the German officer interrogating them.
Yeah.
Right? And the head man, Richard Attenborough, used to call him Big X.
Okay.
Try everything on him and he can't get through, but the German officer was good at.
Right.
When he about to board the train, try a shot at him on the end. He said, good luck. And the man said, thank you. When he catch him right there.
Yeah, right. When he almost got through.
Yes, when he said good luck, he said thank you. He said natural in him.
Yeah, it's natural, yes, a natural tendency. Yeah, go ahead.
So we have to find out words for these Venice. We want to go in the boot after the trainee.
Well, and we had an experience like that. I think a Calypsonian song did a number like that. When they say when they tell them say box, they say box, and it's straight in the police van.
That's Grenadian.
Yeah, Grenadian.
Yeah, I think about Blakey sing that.
Blakey sang that. Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, when he tell them, when they say you're working for $5 a week, they say that can't pay. They say $20 a month. They say that's how we better we go walk right away. Blakey sing that. But if I look for that movie, The Great Escape,
Yeah, The Great Escape. I certainly will. Because I need to get a great escape from all of the bombardment that I was getting. The pleasurable bombardment. Difficult to absorb all of that at one time, but it is fabulous. And it is, of course, having a dream and seeing it unfold. But you still have to pinch yourself to feel whether or not you're dreaming or not, because so long it wasn't waiting. Because we tried all kind of things. We educate the young people. We develop our own institutions. We bring in, of course, MLIO. We bring in, of course, the Ad Hoc Committee for the Eradication of Crime. We, of course, invented the Lavatil Technology and Continuing Education Center. We have, of course, the East Waterspace Development Company and several other institutions such as Barbara Gray Burks, of course, not just the Baptist School, not just the not just the children's home, but of course to show by example how hard work could really make things happen, and one could stay on the straight and narrow by of course being close to your God, so to speak. And we have so many different examples. Lester Penny's children's home for, of course, I don't want to call them stray because I don't want them to sound like dogs, but certainly displaced children's home kind of thing. I prefer to call it that way. And we have, of course, so many persons who were engaged, of course, in sports, whether it's football, whether it's cricket, on their own volition. Of course, the people engaged in treating with the very young ones, in whether in kindergartens or whether, of course, in early childhood center, or what we call long time the school that you would go to before you enter, of course, first year in the secondary system. We call it a different name in those days. These days, of course, it is called my son just helped me there. Preschool, yes. We used to call it preschool. Yes. Yeah. Of course, these days they call it early childhood centers, but we used to call it preschool. Thank you, Joshua, for that intervention. Like you really...
You're the ball.
You're the ball. He listening in the background there. All right. So he's taking notes. Yes, go ahead.
You always say this day will come, eh?
It's what?
You always say that this day will come and the people go wake up.
Yes, boy. I am so elated. I'm so glad for them and glad for the rest of us.
This belief. And everybody don't think you're going to come happen.
Yes.
It's 2 years negotiation was going on between Camera and the president of the PSA, you know.
Yes, 2 years, yes.
We are just talking and saying so much now. We got capsized backside.
And they cannot fall. Even love, whilst of course our interest is strictly Laventille, the constituencies of constituencies of Portsmouth South, Laventille West, Laventille East, Morvant. But we have been around since 2007. I was making the point just before you came on that this thing was in the making since 2007, because we realized that all what we have done, we try to, of course, stop them youths and them from going into a life of crime. We try to stop them from gravitating into crime, into borderline and, of course, gangs. And we did it on our own. But the government, the PNM, continue to stymie. We try, of course, to help the people in East Port of Spain to prevent them from, of course, dislodging them from there, but contain and upgrade the place and let them get those buildings for themselves in order for them to manage their own affairs and become independent. All of that we did on our own volition, and then the PNM simply rejected and resisted all of that.
Because they don't like the people
to keep them in bondage. Yeah.
That's right. But even their own way stock now can't help them, Lennox.
Not even that can help them now. No, can't help them. So they try to avoid it by, of course, doing it in a particular way, like some people, like I understand, John talking about race baiting. But of course, he didn't, but he couldn't remember when Rowley stood up in 2020 after, of course, mashing up the lives of over 60,000 persons in the southwestern peninsula by closing down Petrotrin and all of the dependent businesses and homes and families were destroyed. He couldn't remember when he went up to Sandy Grande and say that pull out a hand of fig or bananas from a cart of all kinds of basics, whether it's flour, sugar, and so on. He pull out that and say that the UNC is trying to make him a monkey, and he ain't no monkey, and that he know what it mean, and all them kind of hogwash, just like what he did in Tobago with respect to the Calcutta ship, and the people rejected him 21 years later. Well, Trinidad and Tobago will reject you 9 years later.
There may have no chance. And restock, which they have been preaching all their life. The preaching is against their own people now.
Yes, against their own people.
Imagine that, boy.
Yeah.
That can help them. They're going to get their ass capsized.
Yes.
All right.
That's it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. I kept him on that length because nobody else was calling. Otherwise, I would have, of course, indicate to him that there's another caller or several callers, right? So no one was calling. But I suppose the calls are sparse because the conversation is so crisp and, of course, relevant to the present situation that we have found ourselves in. And in addition to that, the battery was running low on the phone. Is a good thing. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
To everybody who's on the line, and good night to Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Lennox, listen, I was looking at the UNC meeting there tonight, and boy, if you see that massive crowd in there, that crowd was huge. And they even put tent outside of the building, right? And it's a big crowd outside the building. They would the tents,
Which part?
In Miaro.
Miaro, yes.
In Miaro.
Yeah, Miaro did. Yeah.
And Lennox, if you see people in that meeting, man, that meeting was massive. And here the thing about it now, the people were longer to hear more and to get more information and things. But unfortunately, Mrs. Bishop didn't show up tonight because she had some kind of religious function.
Okay.
And like the people vex the meeting now. You ever see people vex at meeting that?
No, but
because they wanted to hear more.
But I was making a point last night. I put up both meetings, the one in Sawa and the one in Arima. But I put it where you could see the viewers on YouTube. And boy, when I put it up around 8 o'clock, I will start. You see about 200 persons in the PNM viewing the PNM's meeting. You know, when I check at the UNC's meeting, over 3,000, a little later,
yes.
5,000 and counting. And when PNM eventually got 1,000 or so, we were talking about 5,000 or 6,000 going as far as the UNC is concerned. And let me tell you this, that is spectacular. And I made the point earlier that the PNM has CPEP and URP and the cajoling and threatening them people to come to the meeting, otherwise they go get paid. And the people simply are not responding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I saw that too.
Yeah,
I saw it.
not
I
responding.
saw it too. Yeah, people.
Yeah,
listen,
people are fed
and
up
the
with
next
this
thing is
manipulation by these con women and con men who, of course, believe that somehow they could arrogate onto themselves a position that nobody gave them. And then when they get into office, believe that somehow they put themselves there and not dependent on those people. If you see how they're begging now, if you see how they're groveling, if you see how they're sweating, because they want to convince themselves that somehow the nonsense they're talking, they're convincing others. It's just a matter of time. The
whole country waking up, people waking up and seeing what's going on.
Yes.
Especially them old people now because they're studying the pension.
Yes. I tell you, I had two today. I was almost moved to tears. They come to defend their pension and expect that they're going to get more. Yeah. Because they understand it. Yeah.
But listen,
yes.
The long and short of this is last night. It's last night.
Yeah.
I just happened to turn on the switch on the PNM station because you're marking everybody to see what's really going on.
You have to be knowledgeable, yes, to respond appropriately.
Next thing you know, I saw this bald-headed lady, Mrs. Camille, what's she name is? Camille Robinson.
Yeah.
I actually turned it on in time to hear that woman talking about us, and well, I don't even want to mention it because I don't want to give them no traction and that kind of language.
Beautiful.
You understand? Like, don't forget, young children, right? To still up watching, and because remember they're watching with the parents too, and they're seeing these things, and that woman using that kind of language.
Yeah, but listen, who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad, and they have gone mad. So
yeah,
they are gone mad because they are seeing blue lights and silver bracelets. Don't get no beans about it. Don't get no second thoughts about it. It's silver bracelets. They know that. They know Kamala ain't making joke. They know that.
Yes,
and
they
cannot
know that.
afford to make joke with the kind of profligacy, waste, and mismanagement and corruption that they have been engaged in over the last 9 years.
9 years.
Against the people. Against the people.
Exactly, because they weaponize themselves against the citizens of the country.
Yeah.
And every time you speak, Mr. Lennox, what I always remember?
Tell me.
You see that monstrosity they have down
Victoria? Yeah,
yeah. We Heinz sell 10 million for tickets.
Yeah. They suspend the National Lottery Board draws for maybe about 3 months. But they had to, in order for them alone to get over $100 million in car raffle. And they have enough car. They have enough car to raffle that. But these people are evil. They are evil for spite.
Listen, God, according to Miss Santa Cruz, God doesn't only wear pajamas, but God will sleep.
Of course,
you understand? Them fellas forget that God is a great judge, and PNM time up.
Yes.
You understand? PNM time up, and them have to go and they have to account for all the evil that they have done to the citizens of this country, and they will have to account.
Yes, will have to account.
Yes, Mr.
No evil could go unpunished.
Yes,
thank you very much, of course. Yes, indeed. No evil could go unpunished. And I was making the point that don't matter what we did to ameliorate the conditions, living there as a young teacher, as one who attached himself to the village council movement, Leasehold's Village Council. That's where I began my altruistic, or should I say, service to the community venture. And the PNM will not budge, having the most amount of opportunity to assist us. Never. And I personally was a victim. Barbara Burke was a victim. Archbishop Barbara Burke, Penny, all of the progressive elements who would have seen the problem and decided to generate an institution to assist. They victimized them, and the latest, of course, was God Christopher, whose after school or work or homework center was taken away as soon as they came into office in 2015. Taken away. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Lennox, Mayor.
Good night.
Good night. God bless you. Granny Cole.
Hey, thank you.
Granny Cole.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, I called to tell you, God bless you. God bless the sea and heavy. God bless
Thank you.
all
Caller, just hold on. I have Granny on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God
good.
bless all you. I'm begging today is a very auspicious day for we as Hindu.
Okay.
And I'm begging Hanuman and all his different forms to move out that Chinese and the whole team. I'm begging for guidance and protection for this country, because they will want to make trouble. God bless all of you for taking this heavy responsibility of all you.
Thank you.
God bless all you, Mikey, people, all you, that heavy responsibility all you take up.
Yes, boy.
God
yes.
really has to bless all you,
a challenge,
yes. I appreciate that, Lennox. I didn't call too much because I don't always get through.
Yes.
And God bless all you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Caller, let's go on. Let me just take this call. Caller on this device. Just hold on. I have a caller on the system that was in before you. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend.
All right. So I saw Dr. Rao jump out, and he said that there's too much at stake in this election. You know?
Yes.
So I was wondering if you was thinking about what you were saying, the blue lights and the bracelets.
Well, that's exactly what is the vision, what is the concern, what is the inevitability as a result of the inevitable defeat. Yeah.
Yes, because I was thinking, I said the only concern he could have is to he consider our facing that.
Yeah,
jail.
he has to say where he or his family or acquaintances get all the wealth that they stole from the country, extracted from the country, at the expense of our children and our children's children and those young people who still need, of course, a lot of assistance and guidance. And you have taken away that in order to, of course, satisfy your personal greed. Go ahead.
Anyhow, the first time I'm talking to you, this is Bix.
All right. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much. Yes. Let me say at this stage, of course, I want to say that our camp, we need funding for election day. So those of you who have made the corridor your favorite and you have some resources, please call me anytime. I will respond. Of course, I'll put you on to my assistant. Whether it be by today, for example, I spoke to someone in the United States and they were able to send a MoneyGram today. And of course, that was able to, of course, assist the team because we have about 25 persons in the Laverton East Mover camp where our candidate is. It's a good thing we only have one candidate. So imagine if we had about 3, what was happening? Because those persons who had made a commitment 2 years ago, once the election is called, they will assist me. They're either out of the country or their finances are not as good as they would have liked it to be if it was later down in the year. That kind of what I consider to be explanation or excuse. But at this stage, I can't afford excuse. 28 will come. We'll have to have an election. Laverton East Mover will be part of it. I am responsible. Love is responsible for that candidate. And I want to make sure that the machinery is in fact in place in totality so that I'm glad, of course, of the disclosure that there will be, of course, observers. That gives me a little more flexibility to deploy resources elsewhere, because we would have had to look at cars and so on to follow the police. We still want to do that because we don't trust the PNM. Don't trust them. So please, of course, if you have a little that you can contribute, or you yourself would like to visit the camp, we are right on 10th Street, Barataria, behind, of course, the drugstore. And boy, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. The atmosphere is infectious. The camaraderie is marvelous, and the responses out there in the community to the campaign team and the candidate is spectacular. But let's go straight, of course, to the line. President, good night. Welcome. President, good night.
Good night, worldwide.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
I called to confirm, Doctor.
Yes.
A CPAP worker already tell me that they're threatening them, right? With the work and these things if they come to the meeting, the PNM meetings and things.
Right.
Yeah, the person show me. The
and
worker show me
you
they're already doing that.
You don't call your name, but just call in and tell us that is the experience, so that others will know how devious and how superficial, how deceptive Rowley and Young and they, because he is the anointed prime minister, and that is happening under his watch. Otherwise, they get nobody at their meetings. Nobody, if they leave it to the women fancy of those persons that they are given state resources through CPEP and want them to come to support them to stay in office, to do us wickedness, to do us evil, to raise prices, to have you, which is CPEP money, still have to consider increase electricity and increase water rate, and telling us that under 2 years they're not going to consider it. What do you mean by that? So after 2 years it will be considered. After 2 years it will be considered. After you tell us that things are going to improve by 2027. And then, of course, we see that the entire thing has now collapsed, as the Americans, of course, say, no damn license for you, and therefore you can't go into the waters of Venezuela and have no dragon gas. That's what they did. And there's something I'm going to, of course, share with you as I shared on the ground report only on Friday. But go ahead, my friend. Any other thing you want to confirm?
Yeah, doctor. Yes. UNC usually does get more votes than PNM, right? Because let us say if PNM get 100, UNC does get about 150.
Yes.
From what I checked, but what PNM them does get the more areas now.
Yeah.
So that's how them just win the election. But if you go number to number, UNC does get more votes than PNM.
Yes, all the time. They always get the popular vote, except in one instance. I think it might have been 2015. I think it might be 2015. They got, but prior to that, the UNC was getting the popular vote, and I'll explain that in another way. The caller, of course, has touched a very important point. We need to extrapolate that. We need to examine that. That's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But one more thing, doctor.
Yeah.
God on our side, man. Right?
Yes, indeed. Yes,
God
indeed.
on our
No
side.
doubt. Who the gods wish to destroy the
Because-
first and the mad, and if God on your side, then you need nothing else.
Because you see, you cannot be doing people wickedness, right? And who can't see well? Because sometimes people, they say some people have eyes and they can't see, but I know that that PNM them too wicked, boy.
Yeah, boy. I mean, it appears that it's in the DNA. It appears that that there's some curse with Rowley and these people. And there's a word for it, I used to use it a lot. It slipped me now, but they seem to have a compunction. They seem to have a predisposal or a predilection to evil. The Germans have a term they use, Schadenfreude, but that is Rowley and they take pleasure in doing it. Rowley would know that a measure will hurt people. Let's look at those young girls who make a child and they dependent on that milk grant, and he take it away and say and say something to the effect, well, if they know they want to depend on the state to give them milk, then they shouldn't make any children. That's the kind of talk he would talk. And not he alone. Heinz with his cerebral palsy parents, he say they were getting a little kakada, a little funding from URP. He stopped it and say that URP wasn't made for that. That is the kind of beast in human form that have disgraced public office in this country, high public office in this country.
True. Correct.
All right, that's it?
Yeah, brother.
All right. Yes, man. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Yeah, Lennox.
Yes, go ahead.
Lennox.
Yes.
You hear me?
Yeah.
All right, listen to this. Listen to this.
Yeah.
We decide to play with them, and we start to send out the results from their polling stations first. Oh gosh, they start to get on the place. When we start to drop blicks on them like that, I hear the pot burn on the firecracker. Man gone.
Yes,
Man gone and leave the pot burning. When you watch the screen, nobody by Renzi Complex. And Bali's the house. Bali's the house. Bali's the house. Because we just decide to play with them. And we start to send out the results.
So you see what's going on in Lennox?
Yeah. And he making fun of it. A serious matter of questioning their integrity and their respect for the electoral process. He is making fun of it. But these things come in reverse as well. Because I remembered in the by-election in Barataria, when of course the PNM was saying on camera, in the public glare and on international TV, that Kamala lost again. They started that. And when they look wrong, they see that the UNC won. And Balize House was empty because it was the first time that in the local government election, you had, of course, a 7-7 scenario. And, of course, they lost. But I shouldn't say, they lost, of course, Sangi Grandi, totally. To the UNC, yes.
Yeah, I feel like I put more ink in that pen and write these people. And if you want me to send it, the clipping and all, I can send it to you.
Send them now. Send them now. So I'll do some analysis and find the audio or the video from which it was taken. Yeah.
Yeah, right. The international observation matter know what's going on here, man.
Yes.
These people cannot be trusted. They're confessing now.
Boasting that they stole, boasting that they can be devious and not to be subjected to the wrath of the people. Yeah, they are above the law. That's what they believe. They are above the law.
Lennox,
yeah. Okay then. Yes, people. So let me explain, of course, the whole question of that surge that this Cummins fella, who don't know if he's coming or he's going, and the question of the UNC within the popular vote. You see, in UNC constituencies, and indeed, of course, in the marginals, and even in the PNM constituencies these days, there is, of course, on the one hand, in the constituencies, a large number of persons will go out and vote in the UNC-dominated constituencies, central and elsewhere, because St. Augustine is one of them. And then, of course, they will get some votes in the marginal as well, and then they will get some votes in the PNM held along the East-West corridor in particular. Well, the total of all of those is always more than what the PNM will get in totality. But the PNM, a very long time ago, through what is called gerrymandering, they were able to create constituencies out of where they dominate. Like what they try in Tobago, for example, where when Rowley went to the parliament to add 3 seats, there are 12 here, 3 seats to the THA. The EBC's job was to, of course, find PNM dominated, where more people vote for the PNM, and divide those electoral districts to find the additional 3 seats that they were looking for in the THA. That was the plan. But the people in those constituencies or those electoral districts in Tobago had a counter plan. They say, since you're trying to play devious and you're politically greedy and you're greedy for power, your avarice has no limit. They wait like a mapapi and they just vote the tails out. But the same thing has to happen in Trinidad. Because of the gerrymandering and the concentration of seats in the northern part of the country along the East-West corridor. That's why I call the program East-West corridor. There's a reason for that, for this very reason. So thank you, caller, for laying the foundation or making the introduction. So what has happened is that it's a numbers game now. So that if there is a sufficient number, because it's first past the post, the party or the candidate that gets the most vote, he becomes, of course, the parliamentary representative. It doesn't matter. Well, that is what has happened along the East-West corridor. That is why the PNM ends up ended up being in government. Albeit a slim majority, because there's only 21 seats you had to get in order to win. So they have gotten maximum 23 in 2015. You understand why they're behind Tobago? Bad. Because that is 2 gone. And then sure to get anything, or should I say, less than what they expect in Trinidad in order to win or to inevitably lose the elections. That's it. And as an example of course, a close finish or the concept of first past the post, and that is why they wouldn't want to change the constitution to introduce, let's say, proportional representation. They wouldn't do that. But I have an interest, Lavatil. And if I represent that and I get sufficient votes, I suppose to have a say in the parliament. But PNM want that. They want the first past the post system. What I mean is, if 100 persons in a constituency eligible to vote, 100 persons, and you have three contenders for the seat, 3 persons contesting, one get 30 votes. How much remain there? 70? Let's say another one get, let me use a different calculation. One get 25. Let me make it even. One get 25. The next one get another 25. Make it simple. So that's 50. Let's say one get 35. One get 30. One get 25. So 30 and 25, 20, 30, 40, 55, 55, right. And the next one get 45. The fellow with the 45 ends up winning. But because the other 2, you can't put the votes together, which is more than the 45 to get the seat. That's how it works. A pleasant good night. Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, go ahead.
Try plenty times.
Yes.
What I want to say is, if when the election poll, okay, everybody vote and it have all kind of funniness, like what it had the last time. Well, I waiting to see if the UNC will do like how President Ali did in Guyana when he felt cheated. He ain't going no Privy Council and all them thing, you know. He deals straight with the US, international. He's a member of that organization. And I want to say this too. All them callers, let us be calling you to old talk and thing. I wonder if they could read and spell and text a message to find out about that organization. They don't talk nothing about that, which means they don't. They want to educate themselves to help talk on the issues.
Yeah, but I don't want to prolong that because we have an election to focus on. Right?
Watch me.
They said what they have to say, and that's it. Yeah.
I'm talking serious thing. I want to see if the lady is going to go straight there. When it had the thief in the elections in Venezuela, in 2 days' time they had an extraordinary meeting. They was set like Mapapi waiting for that young man, although he not on it yet. Although he and they set like Mapapi. And when they call the meeting, it's I who make you know that this government didn't appear when it had the voting for them to come to a resolution. Guyana vote, St. Vincent and go watch the pattern of these people. and they want to talk about the U.S., want to direct them what to do. The damn unfair is not to have no observers from what they call it, CARICOM. That Maya Motley, she mouth full of talks. That schoolboy they have there in Grenada, all of them is a dangerous gang. If only was studying the geopolitics and watching these people, only will know how dangerous it is with CARICOM.
Well, thank you very much, because you are doing a good job of informing them.
Yeah, but only listening. I can't wait to see the bacchanal.
Otherwise,
I say I'm waiting for the bacchanal, and I set like a map of it. It's gonna be nice, you know.
All right.
Nice.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. Well, people, of course, time has been consumed, and we are beyond. Of course, we are 8 minutes past 10 o'clock. We started on time, so it was nice doing it for you and with you. We had a lot of calls, of course, and a lot of people making their contribution, but a lot of sense, indeed. And that is what we want. I want to say, of course, to the Laventils, be part of history. Please, be part of history. Don't let me have to do more work than is necessary. You have the power in your index finger. You see that race has not gotten us anywhere. Loving a particular symbol in a party has not. And you have also seen that a party could do extreme havoc. Extreme havoc. Because of your loyalty. And they believe that they will never lose, because you will take all what they mete out. And we have seen, of course, that that party, the PNM, has been populated by a bunch of criminals, opportunistic political parasites. You just have to watch at Balize House and ask yourself first the question, how they get that money? Over $100 million. Go and see it. Or lay your son or your daughter or granddaughter or wherever, or grandson, Google it, so you go see the building I'm talking about. And you will understand where they get that money from in 9 years. But don't evaluate it just so. Let them find the clip. Let them Google it. That Rowley said that the PNM was bankrupt when he met it in 2015. It was, in fact, owing over $5 million. Where you get that all that money from to pay off that, plus, of course, build something for over $100 million. And in case, of course, you still have doubts, well, I will go as far as to tell you there are pictures where Jusamco, a company that was hired by the PNM government under Rowley to construct that part of the highway to Point Fortin, which fell down into the swamp below, not too far from the Mosquito Creek. Yeah. But that by itself may not be convincing to you. But let me tell you this. It was Rowley who said in the local government elections last that not a contractor that was employed by the government of Rowley and the PNM worked on Balize House. I just tell you that the same Jusamco was pouring concrete on Balize House. Not on the superstructure, but on the foundation. So imagine the contribution they would have made. And right now, the company that had its container office painted red and black on the compound, and they pushed back the fence of the Tranquility Government Secondary School to accommodate that monstrosity called Balize House. Well, that company right now is building the multi-story, multi-million HGC apartment, high-rise. Guess where? Just before the flyover on the Eastern Main Road, or put more specifically, the compound where the Citrus Growers Association occupied. Most of you senior people will know it as citrus growers, just as how you have coconut growers further up, citrus growers. But that company that was, of course, billing Baldizzi House is now billing for millions of dollars. Those apartments on that compound or that piece of real estate that was occupied by citrus growers. I say no more. But there will be more tomorrow night on the ground report, and we may well have a Sunday program as well, because we don't want you to flounder. We don't want you to shift. We don't want the PNM to come up with some kind of propaganda so as to allow you to have doubt. Your ambiguity must not be part and parcel of your sense of rationality. No. Must not be. You must be as constant as the Northern Star, and you must be immutable like a cent. Can't change. As you go to the polls on the 28th, knowing full well that whether PNM come for you in their car or they stop you at the mock center or the mock station outside and tell you where you're voting, but you must know who you're voting for. So when you get inside of there, you and your God, you and your conscience, and you and your pension, yes, and you and your children who depend on that pension, and you, your own self, difficulty with CDAP, and your pension will be inside of that booth. And you will determine whether you vote and be on a suicidal mission, or you vote for redemption, you vote for development, advancement, you vote for the possibility of improving your general circumstance, including CDAP. I don't talk, but I'll continue tomorrow night. A pleasant good night to all, and may God bless you. And the young man from Laventille who called in, I want to give a special good night to you. Tell your friends, we have been waiting too long. I have given this thing all of my adult life. We formed MLIO. We formed the Laventille Institution for the Eradication of Crime and several others to ameliorate, and the PNM just simply were not only disrespectful but destructive. And they were absolute and total betrayers. They were hard-hearted. They were wicked. They were diabolical. They were evil. And still is. And must be gotten rid of.
Extension, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Hold on, boss. Hold on. Mr. Kawe, why should everybody support you as the next political leader of the PNM and by extension the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago? Hold on, boss. Hold on. You could talk English?
Yes. Everything is being camera. The PM is not doing nothing for this country. All your schools not completed. Look at the potholes. Look at crime situation. Vote for me, Kawe, for...
Let's take this last call. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Hello?
Hello, good night,
Good
Lennox.
night. Yes.
Yes, Lennox. Yeah, I am calling from Princess Town.
Go ahead, Princess Town.
Yes, I am very proud of Lennox. Somebody called and said that he needed a little. I want to give a little contribution. but I don't know how to get in touch with him.
Oh yeah. Well, I am here. I'm here. I am he. I am Lennox. Hello.
All right. Yes.
All right. So I am closing the program now, and after which I'll call you back.
All right.
Is that right? Appreciate that. Thanks very much. Thanks very much in advance.
All right.
Okay then. Bye bye. Yeah, people. Well, of course, you see, good things come to those who wait, and of course, if you ask, it may well be delivered. It may well be delivered onto you. So, people, of course, you've seen, of course, altruism in motion, and you've seen, of course, people who do good things, then good things follow them. And and just about when I was making the point that we have formed, of course, MLIU, we have formed, of course, the Ad Hoc Committee for the Eradication of Crime in Laventille. We have, of course, spearheaded the Laventille Technology and Continuing Education Center. Not Heinz want to thief that and all. They call it plagiarizing. Plagiarize that and all. Because they simply don't have it. And imagine a man like me in some ministry. Imagine you don't need any ministry of efficiency to deliver. And I want to tell you that the candidate in the name of love, part of the coalition of interests, I'm going to tell you something. His office will be like an NGO office, serving all, whether you're PNM or you believe that your neighbor string buried there and you can't, or you're in a state of daze or miss, and that you're a human being and you cannot rationalize and say, no, this is nonsense and this is no good, this is toxic, this is evil, this is a cesspool of corruption, and therefore this is not in my best interest. Whether you're so or not, when there is no political season, the office of that young man will be open to all and sundry to provide what I consider to be human capacity development opportunity, starting from hampers to temporary, of course, tie over people until they get a job, or establishing, of course, an employment agency right there, utilizing technology and so on in order to get this place moving. And apart from, of course, advocating for infrastructure improvement, whether it's roads, the drain, culverts, bridges, so that employment opportunities in that sphere could continue from and within the community. Because we understand the borderline issue and the gang culture. Let's not waste time, so I'm not going to fool anyone. And as I told, whether it's police and whosoever, I say all you could say all you want. The fact of the matter is that those young men and or women that are engaged, whether as gang leaders or as gang members, are part and parcel of the Laventille community, and we must deal with them. You cannot, because of political expediency, say you deal with them and get the police, of course, to engage in extrajudicial killing in order, of course, to make you look good because you want to stay in office incompetently and, of course, unmeritoriously. They are part of the community and must eat like everybody else, and therefore we have to find ways and means not for them, of course, to use what you may give to them in order to buy guns and to, of course, continue the mayhem, but to of course, do so because they are human beings who require, of course, food, shelter, clothing, and entertainment. Let's not waste time. And we have to find ways and means, and to prevent, of course, at the same time, young people from gravitating to that life. That's what we have to do. And we have the solution. I will show you a book of over 1,000 pages. It will make you shiver. Shiver. So Marcel and they are neophytes, and of course Johnny come lately and hitch their wagon to, of course, the wrong political organization at this time. The PNM is irrelevant. It's obsolete. It is ocious. It was I who, of course, designed the interface on the Beatum annual get-together competition. Football, cricket, and of course, they even had a beauty pageant. I did that. None of them could boast of that. It's Stephen Westfield and them. It's me they came to. It's me they came to do the letter in order to, of course, to write it to Manning at the time. And of course, why is I outside? No, it wasn't on that occasion because so many times I've been there to do, of course, the biddings for Laventil that has got it mixed up sometimes. But of course, we get Manning to, of course, give a challenge trophy from the office of the Prime Minister in that competition that is a simple, of course, community-based thing. And I never went, not one time I never went to any of the prize giving. Why? Because they go mention my name. And once they mention my name, Rowley and them and the PNM have a tendency, once you are doing good and they cannot fathom or they cannot be as creative, they shut you down. And I warn, of course, got that they will do him that because experience is the best teacher. I've seen how Robinson was giving us some monthly support, and when the PNM come in, they said, no, we're not going to interfere with it, and then take it away and cause the financial demise of MLIO. I ain't ready to talk yet, you know. I ain't ready to talk yet. As we go closer to the 28th, not only would you see ability cannot be substituted, ability cannot be replicated. If you have an ability, you have an ability. You will hear about embassies and ambassadors walking the streets of East Port of Spain. You will hear of young men going on scholarships to India because of my intervention. And let me tell you something. You know that it would have been easy for me to say I will be the candidate for, instead of course, young Robert Mitchell, a fellow who had a YTC experience. But he came out of it. And he became, of course, the chairman of LFL, Laventil for Laventilians. And he was all over the place, including the Beatum, sharing out computers when computers was a novelty or a rarity at the time. Yeah. Sharing out, of course, community-based agricultural tools so that urban agricultural activities could take place, whether it be in the various, what I consider to be technical forms, or whether it be aquaculture, etc. He did that. Coming out from there. So why mustn't he get the opportunity? Why, of course, I do broader things. So I will assist, of course, as I did today. They were all over the place today. The COP in Port of Spain South, because there's no one who knows that area or considers it better than Lennox Smith and, of course, his team. I'll assist, of course, the UNC candidate in Laventil West, because there's no one who knows it better than me. And I will, of course, spearhead the campaign as I've done and I'm doing in, of course, Laventil East Movement. None. I say so without contradiction. My track record is there to be seen. Theirs, of course, is nil. So Marcel, of course, being a chairman of a village council in Beatum, that is simple thing. Simple thing, that is easy. It's to be creative. And in spite of the government, and that is the point I'm making, in spite of the government, we were able, of course, to take these young people and, of course, give them vision and give them hope and give them, of course, a sense of what they can be if the right conditions are there, and over 6,000 of them graduated out of MLIO's program between 1984 and about 2000, until the PNM came and killed it. Hold the tail. Let's get rid of them and relegate them to the dustbin of history until you have a duty and responsibility to yourself. Because what you want me to do when you would have failed, if you only take God out of your thoughts and vote for the PNM. What you want me to do? Well, I am getting old. As I told somebody today, I started this thing when I had black hair. Now it's turning gray. Turning gray. And I'm still here, right on George Street, among the people where Hines and them was and is, even when they would have either been in or out of government. Where Hines today? That is the exploitative nature of the PNM and those opportunistic political parties. What you doing with them? What you doing with them, Laventille? What you doing with them? No way Marcel could make any dent, any inroads. He don't know. 1 and 2, the PNM will not allow him. And don't tell me I don't know that, because look what they did to Maurice Marshall, even though he was an exception to the rule. Understand that. Understand that. When a dog sucking egg, it's difficult, of course, to retrain them or to deflect them from doing that iniquitous act. The next thing you have no fowl, you have no new chicken, etc. Come on. You have a duty and responsibility. I'm talking about, of course, the senior citizens. I'm talking about, of course, the middle. I'm talking about those young persons who just turned 18 and have their IDs. You get out there, and of course, we're going to find a way to get you to the polling station if, of course, the concern is the borderline issue. I remember, of course, I think in the 2020 elections when that was brought to my attention, and there was no, of course, polling station in Missouri. I wrote, of course, to the chief elections officer and say, listen, there's a borderline issue between, of course, those fellas somewhere not too far, but of course close to Missouri, and let them who in Missouri be able to go and vote in comfort and without having to look over their shoulders or having exercised their franchise. They end up dying. Waste of time. Yes. And so it was granted. But there are other ways, if we don't have the time, to make sure that we carry you to exercise your franchise. But more than that, I don't expect any untoward activities simply because everybody, whether you are a gangster, whether you are gravitating there too, whether you are violent, whether, of course, you are a gunman, whether you are a gang leader, all of us are feeling the pain, whether you are a teacher, whether you are a police officer, or whether you are a scavenger, whether you are a mason, whether you are a mechanic, or whether you are an electrician, whether you are a mother, whether you have children, and a family to protect. All of us are feeling the pain, and therefore that should coalesce us, and that should, of course, make sure that all of the negativity are set aside, and hopefully, of course, we can, of course, do it on a permanent basis or a sustained basis as we move forward when Kamala Prasad Bisasa and the UNC and the coalition of interests come together as the government after the 28th of this month. It's just just about 2 more weeks. Come on. You need to do yourself that once and for all and be counted and be part of history. After all, we have seen all, and they are prepared to do more, to deliver more evil if we only take God out of our thoughts and not consider the young people, you senior citizens. Don't matter what them PNM dependent on CPEP and URP contractors or sycophants tell you, you go to the booth, tell them what they want to hear, but make sure you put your X by the rising sun. Or in the case, of course, of the COP, the concentric circle. You don't have the rocket to deal with on this occasion because we have agreed to use the rising sun as our symbol in Laventon East movement. So you have a very uncomplicated process, uncomplicated exercise. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And see you, of course, tomorrow night.
Mr. Kawe, why should everybody support you as the next political leader of the PNM and by extension the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago?
Hold
on, boss, hold on. You could talk English?
Yes. Everything is being camera. The PM is not doing nothing for this country. All the schools not completed. Look at the potholes. Look at crime situation. Vote for me, Kawe, for a better country.
This is a song about a man named Kawe from way down in South. This fella called Kawe from way down in South. Kawe is a fella the people talking about. Now he joined the PNM, they love him all the way. But all them in the PNM supporting Kawe. Rowley for Kawe, different for Kawe, struck for Kawe, fire for Kawe. Listen what I say, the whole of the PNM for Kawe, for Kawe, for Kawe. Yes, for Kawe. Oh, yo, yo, yo. Hey, hey, yo. Kawe is the real man.
him a letter. I want to ask him a question. If he knew what was going on. The other day I was passing, I hear people complaining. He is the man with the answer, but he's quite over yonder. They say, stay in the valley, stay in the valley.
This is Caribbean Vibes.
I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years is the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he. With joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politicians, only making up numbers in my island. I don't care all who go vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. She is a strong, determined woman like me, and deserve a chance to run this country. When she in power, I don't go hungry. And Calypsonian does get big money. She don't deserve no spot in my cemetery. I putting she in the center of the city. I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years is the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he. With joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politicians, only making up numbers in my island. I don't care all who go vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. She is a strong, determined woman like me, and deserve a chance to run this country. When And Calypsonian does get big money. She don't deserve no spot in my cemetery. I putting she in the center of the city. I don't care all who go vex with me, but Kamala I not ready to bury. She is a strong, determined woman like me, and deserve a chance to run this country. When